She said, "If you're jealous of me texting my ex every night, that's your problem." I replied, "I completely agree." Then I started dating her best friend who'd been asking me out for months. When she asked, "Can we talk?" I sent a pic from our weekend getaway together. Original post. I, 29 male, had been with Melissa, 27, for almost 3 years when she said that to me. And the worst part wasn't the words themselves. It was the look on her face when she said them. Calm, dismissive, like my feelings were some minor inconvenience she couldn't be bothered to entertain. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Melissa and I met in Chicago during a mutual friend's birthday dinner. She was magnetic in that effortless way some people are. Dark blonde hair, confident posture, and a laugh that made everyone else lean in a little closer. She worked in corporate marketing, and I was a project manager for a construction firm. We hit it off immediately, and within 6 months, she'd moved into my apartment in Logan Square. The first year was good, really good. We built routines. Sunday morning coffee from the corner cafe. Netflix marathons on rainy nights. Grocery shopping together. The normal, comfortable things that make you feel like you're building something permanent. Melissa had a best friend named Kayla. She'd been friends with Melissa since college. Kayla was different, quieter, observant. She didn't dominate conversations. She listened. She noticed things. At first, Kayla and I barely interacted. She'd come over sometimes. The two of them would drink wine and talk for hours, and I'd mostly stay out of their way. But occasionally, Melissa would leave the room, and Kayla and I would talk. About work. About movies. About random life stuff. She was easy to talk to. Too easy, maybe. Still, I never thought much of it. She was Melissa's best friend. That made her off limits in every possible way. Everything started changing about a year and a half into our relationship. Melissa became more protective of her phone. At first, it was subtle. She'd angle the screen away from me. Take it with her everywhere, even the bathroom. Smile at messages she didn't share. One night, we were sitting on the couch watching a show, and her phone lit up beside her. I wasn't trying to snoop. I just happened to glance over. The name, Ryan, appeared on the screen. I knew that name. Her ex. She quickly flipped the phone over. I tried to sound casual. "Ryan." She shrugged. "He just texted. Nothing important." Something in my stomach tightened. "Why is he texting you?" She sighed, like I was being exhausting. We ended on good terms. We stayed friends. Friends. I wanted to believe that. I really did. But over the next few months, it became obvious it wasn't just occasional texts. It was constant. Late at night, especially, she'd lie next to me, typing, sometimes smiling, sometimes turning away slightly, like she didn't want me to see. Finally, one night, I asked, "Why are you texting him every night?" She didn't even look up. "Because he texts me." That's not really an answer. She put the phone down, clearly annoyed. "He's part of my life. He always has been." I swallowed the discomfort. "It makes me uncomfortable." And that's when she said it. "If you're jealous of me texting my ex every night, that's your problem." Her voice wasn't angry. It was dismissive, cold, like my feelings didn't matter at all. I sat there quietly. Then I said, "I completely agree." She blinked, surprised. "Good," she said, picking her phone back up. That moment changed everything. Not immediately, but permanently. I stopped arguing, stopped questioning, stopped caring. Emotionally, I started pulling away. She didn't notice, or didn't care. Around that time, Kayla started coming around more often. At first, it was still to see Melissa. But sometimes Melissa would be busy, and Kayla and I would end up talking alone. One evening, Melissa canceled dinner plans with both of us because she said she was too tired. But Kayla had already arrived. We ordered takeout and watched a movie. Halfway through, she glanced at me. "You okay?" I hesitated. "I'm fine." She didn't buy it. "You don't seem fine." I don't know why I told her. Maybe because she actually cared enough to ask. I told her everything. About Ryan. About the late-night texting. About how invisible I felt in my own relationship. Kayla listened quietly. She didn't interrupt. Didn't defend Melissa. She just listened. When I finished, she said softly, "You deserve to feel respected." Those words stuck with me, because Melissa hadn't made me feel respected in a long time. After that night, Kayla and I started talking more. At first, just texting occasionally. Then regularly. She'd check in, ask how I was doing, ask about my day, things Melissa had stopped doing months ago. One night, Kayla said something unexpected. "I've always thought you deserved better." I didn't know how to respond. Then she added, I never said anything because you were with Melissa. My chest tightened. What do you mean? She hesitated. I mean, I always liked you, but I respected your relationship. I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't reply immediately, not because I wasn't interested, but because crossing that line felt like detonating a bomb. Still, the truth was undeniable. Kayla treated me with more kindness, respect, and emotional presence than Melissa had in a year. Meanwhile, Melissa's behavior got worse. She started going out more, coming home late, guarding her phone like it contained state secrets. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. She wasn't in bed. I walked into the living room. She was sitting on the couch, smiling at her phone. She quickly locked it when she saw me. Who are you texting? I asked. Just a friend. I didn't argue, didn't question, didn't care, because emotionally, I was already gone. A week later, Kayla asked me out. Directly. No pressure, she said. But if things ever end between you and Melissa, I'd like to take you to dinner. That was the moment everything became clear. I realized something important. Melissa had already checked out. She just hadn't had the courage to end it. She wanted the stability I provided, while keeping her emotional connection with Ryan. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her safety net. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to beg for respect. I was going to reclaim my dignity. 2 days later, Melissa casually mentioned she'd be grabbing drinks with coworkers. She left around 7 p.m. At 8 p.m., Kayla texted me. Are you okay? I stared at the message. Then I replied, no, but I want to be. She responded almost instantly. Come meet me. There's a small place downtown. Nothing fancy. I went. We sat across from each other in a quiet bar. For the first time in months, I felt seen, heard, valued. We talked for hours. Nothing physical happened. But emotionally, something shifted. Over the next 2 weeks, Melissa and I barely spoke. We lived like roommates, strangers sharing space. Finally, one night, I ended it. This isn't working anymore, I said. She barely reacted. Okay, she replied simply. No tears. No fight. No attempt to fix it. That told me everything I needed to know. She moved out the following week. And almost immediately, I started dating Kayla. Slowly. Respectfully. Honestly. She was everything Melissa hadn't been. Present. Kind. Supportive. 3 months later, Kayla and I took a weekend trip to a small lake town in Wisconsin. It was peaceful. Quiet. Healing. One morning, we took a photo together on the dock. Her leaning into me. Both of us smiling. Genuinely happy. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. Melissa. Her name on the screen felt surreal. Her message was simple. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. A year ago, I would have dropped everything for that message. But now it meant nothing. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I opened my camera roll. Found the photo from that morning. Kayla and I, standing on the dock, sunlight behind us. Peaceful. Happy. I sent it. No caption. Just the photo. She replied almost instantly. What is this? I didn't answer. A minute later, another message. Are you dating Kayla? Still, I didn't answer. Then came the call. I declined it. She sent one final message. I didn't think you'd do this to me. I laughed quietly. Not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. Because she had no idea. She had lost me long before Kayla ever found me. Not because I wanted revenge, but because she made it clear I didn't matter. Kayla didn't steal me. Melissa pushed me away. One message at a time. One dismissal at a time. One moment of disrespect at a time. A week later, I heard through mutual friends that Ryan had never gotten back with her. Apparently, he'd been seeing someone else the entire time. Melissa had gambled everything on someone who never planned to choose her. Meanwhile, I had found someone who chose me freely. Every single day. 6 months later, Kayla and I moved into a new apartment together. And for the first time in years, I felt secure. Not because I feared losing her, but because she never made me feel like I could. Sometimes, karma doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes, it arrives quietly. In the form of peace. In the form of someone who sees your worth when someone else couldn't. Melissa thought she had all the power when she said my feelings were my problem. She was right. They were my problem. And I solved them. By removing her from my life completely.